An American veteran taking heat for rescuing a U.S. flag from a Reno flagpole where it was flying underneath the Mexican flag. The Mexican flag was on top of the American flag out in Reno. All right, proud patriot, or was he trampling on somebody else's First Amendment rights? Jim Broussard is the vet who took down the flag. He is screen left. He joins us from Reno. Good morning to you, Jim.
Good morning, Steve.
And Douglas Burns is an attorney and a former federal prosecutor, and he's going to argue the other guy's side. But, Doug, we thank you as well.
My pleasure.
Jim, let's start with you. So you're in downtown Reno. You look up above that place, and you saw something. Tell us what you did.
Thank you, Steve. I saw an atrocity. I saw disrespect for our country, and I saw a person purposely standing out there displaying it. The owner of the building, or the owner of the business. I proceeded past him, and I proceeded to cut down the flags.
Right.
I separated them, and then I removed the American flag from there.
So you cut down both the American and the Mexican flag. And the guy who put him up there, what did he say to you?
There was no dialogue. He didn't have anything to say.
Why was he doing it?
He wouldn't answer that question. The cameraman tried to ask him that.
All right. Now, Jim, are you in trouble with the local police?
No.
You're not in trouble because that Doug, that guy's private property, the guy who is
Right.
who owned that business, that was his private property, and technically, he did. This guy, Jim, did something wrong.
Both sides are wrong. First of all, there are these very obscure federal laws that, and Jim is right, in the sense that you are not allowed to fly the Mexican flag above the American flag on the same staff. By the way, Jim, if you float two flags on two poles at the same height, that's allowed. But be that as it may, Jim was right. But what he should have done, with all due respect, is probably alerted law enforcement and had them go over there and tell him to take it down. When he took the law into his own hands, and it's not a huge deal, he himself violated those same exact regulations, by the way, because the only way to properly take down an American flag, as he well knows, is to do it with the correct ceremony. But again, I understand it was an emotional situation for him, and you have to kind of play it down the middle. Both sides clearly wrong.
Jim, would you like to respond to that?
Yes, I enjoy being wrong in this situation.
Understood.
I have to say that if I'm going to be wrong about something, I would want to be wrong about this. And the problem with our country today is they question, gee, is this going to be politically correct? You know, or they question, what are they going to think? What are they going to say?
Yeah. Would you do it, Jim?
You know,
would you do it again if you saw another Mexican flag flying above an American flag? Because Doug here says you'd be in trouble.
Right.
I encourage all Americans to take back our country. The people who are doing this are illegals. Most of them that are precipitating this behavior are supporting illegals, or they are illegals. And we need to act quickly and decisively. And the authorities were notified, in fact, several times before I came and took this flag down.
But we live in a society of laws, okay? With all the respect, we live in a society of orderliness, and you strike me as an individual who respects that, and I respect you for that. But the fact of the matter is you probably shouldn't have taken the law into your own hands.
All right, but you know what, Doug? Most of our emailers said he did the right thing, even though he might get into a little hot water. He's a patriot.
That's the visceral, emotional part, Steve, not the legal part, honestly.
Sure. All right. Both of you guys, thanks for joining us.
Well, shoulda, coulda, woulda, but
yeah, you're exactly right.
It shoulda, coulda, woulda, but we have people fighting for our country in Iraq, and I'll tell you something. The things that have happened through the last few years are atrocities towards our country. The lawless people that have entered our nation illegally.
Well, you stood up for the flag
to steal identity, and this flag was posted to support identity theft.
Yeah, all right. All good points.
How ludicrous is that?
Well, so many.
How ludicrous is that? I mean, do we support that, or do we just wait until law enforcement gets around?
You make a lot of good points. We'd like to continue the dialogue. All right, Jim Broussard and also Doug Burns. We thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today.
Thank you, Steve.